Today I am going to discuss the relationship between the elliptical orbit's length and the Earth's circumference. Now previously I discussed how to figure out and what is the correct path of the Earth's rotation around the Sun, and how should it affect on the life on Earth, so that such that how should it be corrected, the elliptical orbit. And in that we didn't discuss about the days, how the days are occurred when it is going round the Sun. Now today we are going to explain that also, because now our purpose is to understand the ultimate reality, and for that, to understand the ultimate reality, we need to understand the reality of the time. To understand the universe, we want to liberate from our time frame on Earth. To liberate from our time frame, we need to understand the time. How does it occur and how does it affect on us? And then only with that correct understanding, we can liberate from this time frame and go to the universe, and we can experience time traveling also. Now we know that now according to scientists in physics, they say that the Earth rotates from west to east and goes round the elliptical orbit. Then Earth is rotating about its own axis, and at the same time it goes round the elliptical orbit also. Now, when the Earth completes one cycle around the Sun, it completes 1 year. That means now, while it is rotating about its own axis, it has to travel along the orbit also. So two things are happening. Then therefore now we can calculate the relationship between the elliptical orbit's length and the circumference, because within 1 day, when the Earth rotates, this is according to physics, within 1 day when the Earth rotates, completes one cycle, then it travels some distance from A to B. When it is rotating, it has to travel some distance. Then that distance has to be the circumference of the Earth, because Earth has to travel. So how does it travel? What is the requirement for it to travel along this orbit, and how does it complete 1 year? Now in physics, what they say is, they talk about a tangential force acting on the Earth due to the centripetal forces acting between the Sun and the Earth. And then due to that tangential force only, the Earth goes along the elliptical orbit. But we know that there has to be some movement along the orbit, but what has to be, based on what condition it is traveling, that we have to clear out. So then what should happen is, now if it is traveling, however, even under tangential force, if it is traveling along this orbit, approximately we can calculate how many times does the Earth rotate while it is going along the orbit. So when it goes from A to B, it completes 1 day. 1 day means it's traveling a distance of its circumference from A to B, and approximately the length of the elliptical orbit, we can make an approximate calculation, this distance divided by the circumference of Earth, then we should get approximately 365 days. This is an elliptical orbit, but that this is, I am not going to deeper calculation. This is what is the basic theory. Based on this theory only it has to travel. If it doesn't happen, if this is not satisfied, if it is not satisfied, then everything will change. The number of days or the speed of the earth, all those things will change. But they are the scientists in physics. They don't talk about any. They don't talk about this kind of a theory requirement. And for this to happen, Earth, let's say the Earth's rotation starts from point A and end of one day it comes to point B. Then for this curve to give 365 days for us approximately, then as the Earth comes to point B end of the day, then on the following day, let's say this is the first day, and on the second day it has to start its motion along the orbit from the point B, exactly from the point B. That means exactly from where it stopped on the first day, on day 1. Then day 2 also is after completing the day 2, then it has to start the rotation from that very point. So then only we can adapt the days, and then only the days increase. 1 day, 2 day, like that. Then only we will get weeks, and then months, and then the year. Then what we want to focus now, based on this theory, how does this happen? So how does the Earth move from A to B while it is completing one day? So they say the rotation about its own axis and the revolving along the orbit, both are happening at the same time. That is what they mention they explain in physics. Let's try to understand this further. The rolling and rotation, that's very important. Now, when we consider a vehicle, the wheels of it are actually rolling. As the wheels are rolling only, the vehicle or the truck can travel forward, travel from one place to another. If these wheels are rotating, they have only a rotation, then the vehicle doesn't move from one place to another. It doesn't travel. Because now when we are trying to travel along a muddy road, then the wheels rotate at the same place. So the vehicle doesn't move front. So that's the rotation. For the objects to move, for the circular objects to move from one place to another, they have to roll. And that rolling is happening along a road. Because there has to be a road for the wheels to roll. The wheels roll along the road only. Similarly, I've explained that using the wheels here also. Now the wheel is rotating. If it is rotating, if only the rotation happens, then it rotates only at one place. It doesn't move across. So it has to travel. It has to roll. Then when it is rolling only, it can travel a distance. Then actually we cannot explain the rotation of Earth, because now according to this, now we know that there has to be a road, there has to be a path for these to travel or roll, as well as there has to be a path for the Earth also to travel along the elliptical orbit. It must have a path because then only it can roll. Now, but if we consider now here we are considering the whole system, the sun and earth together as one system. But if we think only about this, only about the earth, then we experience, then we can see that it's rotating only about the earth. But now we are considering the whole system, because as the sun exists, then only it goes round the earth has to travel around it. So actually the earth doesn't rotate, it actually rolls. Then only that requirements happens. The theory, according to that theory, the circumference, the length of the elliptical orbit divided by the circumference of the earth will give the number of days for the year. How many times does the earth roll along the elliptical orbit? We want to understand, we want to explain that why should the earth's circumference equal to the length along the elliptical orbit that it travels within a day. Everything has a reason. The universe establishes methodology, certain mechanisms according to based on reasons. There is a reason for everything. So that is why we have to understand this also. One by one, understanding the reasons, we can go to the correct, we can go to the ultimate reality. We can experience the ultimate truth of everything. Now, for this to understand, now let us assume that there are three cases that we can discuss this under, because now depending on the speed of the earth, right, then we can discuss this in three cases, right. Different speeds the earth can rotate and roll. So there are two things happening here, the rotation and rolling according to physics. So I am taking those two just to explain this. Then the rotation, if the rotational speed, Earth's rotational speed about its own axis is slower, right, is slower, then what happens is the days are longer. There will be more than 24 hours per day because it's rotating slower. And while it's rotating slower, if the earth rolls faster, earth rolls along the orbit faster, then what happens is, so it completes the elliptical orbit in a shorter number of days, less than 365 days. Shorter year. So it's a shorter year then. And when it comes to now slower, when it comes to the Earth's rotation is faster, if the Earth's rotation is faster, then the days are shorter. So one day has less than 24 hours. And in that case, if the rolling speed of the earth is slower, then it takes more time for the earth to orbit along this elliptical path. So the year, 1 year has more than 365 days. So that is a longer year then. And then if the earth rotates about its own axis within 24 hours, exactly if it takes 24 hours, then it gives us 365 days. And if the Earth takes for the elliptical to rotate along the elliptical path 365 days, then what happens is, now within the first day the Earth rolls some distance, and then at some speed also. Then while the Earth rotates about its own axis, it has to roll along the path. Then end of the day, the Earth comes to this point. Then when it is coming to this point, it needs to complete 1 day or 24 hours. And so then it has traveled a distance of circumference, and after that, on the second day, also it travels distance of the circumference along the orbital path, and so the day 2 is created. Then like that, first day, second day, third, fourth, like that. When the Earth goes 365 days, then exactly when the Earth comes after completing 1 year, when the Earth comes to the point where it started, then it has rotated. The Earth has rotated 365 times. Earth rolls along this many times, and then it comes to the point where it started end of 1 year. Then end of 1 year, if the Earth's rotational speed about its own axis, rotational speed of the Earth about its own axis is equal to the rolling speed along the elliptical path. If those two speeds are equal only, end of 365 days, the Earth comes to the point where it started, or it completes 1 full cycle. So those speeds must be equal. Rolling and rotating, the speeds of rolling and rotating has to be equal for this to happen, for us to add up the days one by one. This is very important. Otherwise, if the speeds are different, rotating speed and the rolling speeds are different, then we will experience longer days. That means for the Earth to travel from A to B, it takes more than 24 hours. And then it's rotating faster, and we will have fewer number of days. Then we will have number of days less than 365. But now we know that according to our practical experience, it has come to the calendar year also. But that is what we are experiencing yearly also. Actually, true experience, that's the reality. It takes 365 days. So what we are experiencing is 365 days. Then for that to happen, for us, if we are experiencing 365 days, we should be able to explain that from this elliptical orbit and based on the Earth's rotation and rolling. So that's why now that is why to experience for 24 hours and 365 days, both the rotating and rolling speeds have to be equal. In physics, this concept, this content is not addressed. It has not been addressed. They don't discuss this. They discuss the speed of rotation and revolving around the sun in two different cases. But we can explain this. Why does it have to be 24 hours and 365 days? How can we compare the speeds of those two? Even when we calculate, when we solve physics problems related to the Earth's orbital motion, Earth's rotation, even I also have taught my students, but we never came across this type of problem. We just calculate the speed of rotation separately and about its own axis, and then we calculated the revolving around the sun separately. Right, so now here we are explaining the reality. For us to experience some reality, what is the reason? And how do we figure it out? Why does it have to be like that? So then only we can go to the ultimate truth.